of all the dialogue spoken in movies, a few lines have permeated our cultural framework. Among them are, Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore, from The Wizard of Oz. Badges, we ain't got no badges, from Treasure of the Sierra Madre. I could have had class, I could have been a contender, from On the Waterfront. And Rhett Butler's classic dismissal at the end of Gone with the Wind. Frankly, my dear, I could not care less. Or something to that effect. My favorite was set in a 1980 musical comedy titled The Blues Brothers, starring John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, based on a skit from the TV program Saturday Night Live. They played ex-convicts, aspiring musicians, who reunited their band to raise money to save the orphanage where they grew up from being foreclosed. Whenever they were asked about their work, they said, "We're on a mission from God." In this week's Torah portion, Lech Lecha, the mission of the Jewish people begins as God commands Abraham to go forth from your native land. The biblical scholar E.A. Spicer designates this call as the most fateful commencement in history. Abraham was not simply sent out. His journey was no routine expedition, no simple migration to the land of Canaan. It was the beginning of the Jewish mission to become God's chosen people. And it initiated a mission spanning 4,000 years, of which we are a continuation. As descendants of Abraham, we too are on shlichut, on a mission from God. And we need not wonder about or speculate upon the nature of that mission, for it is the same as Abraham's. We are commanded as he was commanded, hitalech lefanai, to walk before God. Rabbi Yitzhak Alderstein writes, a Jew must always be going, always on the move, walking the next mile toward his personal destination. At no time in one's life does he escape the need to go and advance. As a matter of fact, the Talmud teaches, tzaddikim, the righteous, not only have no rest in this world, but no rest in Olam Haba, in the world to come, because they are always progressing in their spiritual striving. For one who is on a mission from God, there is no standing still. Stasis is synonymous with decline. We must move forward in our searches and our struggles. There are no times in life when we become free of this obligation. Within each and every day, we must advance. Whether it is in the performance of mitzvot, in the improvement of character, in the love of God, or in the care of our fellow man. This was the message of Abraham's life, that life must be linked to going forth. This is our mission as well, to aspire not to have more, but to become more, not to fill our coffers, but to fill our souls. 35 years ago, when I envisioned the artistic motif that would adorn our holy ark. I was faced with myriad possibilities. I could have chosen a rendering of creation, or of Jacob's ladder, or Mount Sinai. But I chose the burning bush, owing to its universality. Its message applies to everyone. At that theophany, God calls Moses to a mission. Moses attempts to refuse, explaining why he should stay right where he is. In the end, God will have none of it. And the rest, as they say, is history. God refused Moses' effort to continue his comfortable existence as a shepherd of sheep. He summoned him to become a shepherd of men and tolerated no excuses. How does this vignette in the Torah speak to us? Just like Moses, we are called. And just like Moses, we resist the commission. But the lesson of the burning bush is that when God bids us to go forth, we must walk. In this regard, we are even greater than the angels on high. Angels are referred to in our tradition as omdim, stationary, standing. They lack the ability to change, remaining as they are from the moment of birth to the last moment of their existence. Angels do not have the power to improve themselves. By contrast, we human beings are called holchim, those who walk, who go forth, who progress higher. When we say, I am happy just the way I am, we violate our very nature and God's will, for we should never be contented. Shimon Peres recalls a trip with Ben-Gurion. I remember one day accompanying Ben-Gurion on a visit to Dimona. We visited the primary school in that development town, and Ben-Gurion invited the pupils, 11 and 12-year-old girls, to ask him questions. One took the opportunity. Mr. Ben-Gurion, she said, at what time in your life did you feel the greatest satisfaction? Ben-Gurion's face suddenly took on a serious expression, and he said, what is satisfaction? What is the good of it? If a man becomes satisfied, what is he to do then? A man who is satisfied no longer yearns, no longer dreams, no longer creates, no longer makes demands. No, he said, young lady, I have never in my life had a moment of satisfaction. Rabbi Sidney Greenberg says, Americans today spend billions on diet foods, diet drinks, exercise, and recreational activities. All of these testify to our justifiable fear of growing in the wrong places and in the wrong ways as we grow older. What we need, the rabbi said, is the greater fear that in some vital ways we stop growing altogether. Where our truly human dimensions are concerned, the dimensions of the mind, the heart, and the soul, we must not stay the same size. In other words, we are not put on this earth to sit around and be happy with ourselves. We were given a mission down here. As Hillel said, he who does not increase his knowledge decreases it. The message is that if we are not moving forward, we are continuously falling back. One can never remain the same in his knowledge or achievements or his character. Regardless of yesterday's successes, if he does not build on his previous accomplishments, he is stagnating and, in fact, receding. We can go up or we can go down, but we can never stay the same. So, God expects us to become nothing more than we are capable of becoming, but he also expects us to become nothing less than we are capable of becoming. Hannah Senesh was a young poet, a kibbutznik. She was called to parachute behind Nazi lines with the mission to save Jews. She was captured, tortured, and executed at age 23. A line she wrote is inscribed on the memorial to Israeli paratroopers at the Tel Nof Air Force Base. A voice summons, and you begin to walk. We too walk. We too go forth. Because we always have been, and we are yet, and we always will be on a mission from God.